Hi, and thanks for joining. It's Patty from PS Paper Crafts, and today I'm going to show you how to make this card. I'm using this piece right here from the Tidings All Around. This is in the new holiday catalog, the 2019 holiday catalog, which will be available to purchase from starting September 4th. So there's a wreath in here, but I wanted to make my own wreath. And this stamp is really neat because it's got all light and dark right in one stamp. To make this wreath, I use my Stamparatus. Now, if you're not familiar with the Stamparatus, it's a tool that Stampin' Up! Sells, and it allows you to place your stamp just where you want it, so you can repeat the same stamp over and over again, or you could do something like this where I have a template and I'm going to just stamp around, and I'll show you how I go through it. But this is really cool. It actually has two of these plates. I'm only using one, and you can flip it, so you can put a stamp on here, a stamp on here, and then there's one here as well. So it's really a great tool. It has some magnets. You can get grid paper for it. And what I did, and let me just tell you, so you would put your stamp on here and you could stamp it down, and if you lift it up and it's not dark enough, you could stamp it again. You could do this for your Christmas cards. If you're making 50 cards, you just put it in here, stamp down, take it out, put the next one in, stamp down. It's really a great tool for that. But it also is really neat for doing something like a wreath. So this is a 4x4 square, and then I just turned it on the corner. And what I did was I just cut a 4x4 piece of cardstock, and I put it right in the middle, and I drew around it. This is not my idea. I got it from YouTube or Pinterest or something last year. And then you're going to find the center. So 4x4, 2 is the center. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to go over 1, 2, and that's the line, and 1, 2, and that's the line. So I want to just put my points on those lines and draw around it. And now what I'm going to do is move this over a little bit. Let's get the card out of the way. I like to have a stamp pad here so I have a place to kind of lean on. And I'm going to start my card. This is a piece of Whisper White 4x4. And I'm going to get my stamp and place it where I want to start. So I'm going to place it right here, and this will be my starting point. And I'm just going to close the door, press on it, lift it up. Whoops, I should have had my magnet. Let me get my magnet in place. So the magnet will hold your place. When you're using the photopolymer stamps, they are sticky. So you want to make sure that your magnet holds your paper in place. And we're going to be lifting this paper over and over again. And then I also have my mat in here because I'm using a photopolymer stamp. So just so you know that. And I'm using Old Olive ink, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to ink up my design or my image, and don't worry about this, it's not going to get on the paper. It looks awful, and you're just going to press down. I'll wipe that off, but it's pretty good. It doesn't get the edges, but I will get my I'll try to keep it a little bit cleaner. I'll just wipe it off with my, what are these called? I always forget the name of these things. They're really wonderful. Oh my goodness. I'm thinking scrunchy, but that's not the right word. Chamois, that's what it is. So that's just my ink cleaner. So let's move on, and I'm going to lift this up, and I'm going to turn this to the point. But isn't this pretty? It's all different shades of the same ink. So I'm going to put this down. I'm going to ink this up. And you just repeat it over and over again. And if it didn't come out good, you could ink it up again if it wasn't dark enough, and then just go down and it'll be perfect placement. So then we're going to go back into the square and get up. And you'll see I'm getting this beautiful wreath. And you can use different size squares. So I used 4 by 4. You could use 5 by 5, 3 by 3, whatever you want. So I'm just going to keep going through this. I'll probably speed it up so you don't have to go through this painful process here. After a while, I think it's probably something you don't need to see every step. So that was the last one. Isn't this just beautiful? Perfect wreath. So I'm going to put this aside. I'll just wipe this down later, clean my stamp off. And now what we're going to do is put some little crushed curry dots in. See these little dots? I added them here and there. And what I tried to do is put them on the end of that branch so that they were kind of laid out evenly. So I have crushed curry. I think these are great fall colors. This would be a perfect card for Christmas as well. You can do more of a evergreen and use some red berries for the dots and some red paper, and it would be really beautiful. So I'm just going around, and I'm not trying to be exact. I'm just getting these kind of on the edge of these branches. Okay, so I got all of those. And then actually let me leave this out. I'm using my sentiment from To a Wild Rose. I like blessed and grateful. You could do blessed to be your friend, blessed to know you, blessed and grateful to know you, whatever. So I'm going to do the blessed and grateful. I think this would be a nice Thanksgiving card. The colors and then the sentiment. So I'm going to go right smack in the middle of this. And then I'm going to do my ungrateful on a little strip of paper, and then I'll cut the banner ends. So I'm going to kind of do it over here a little bit. Okay, and then I'll cut them up, and then we really just have to put the card together. Pretty easy card. I like to use my, I think it's called the banner triple punch or the triple banner punch. I like to use that to make my banners. You can cut it by hand if you want. For some reason, I'm not very good at that. So I like to just feed it in, try to make it even, and punch it. Now this is going to be a little bit long, so I'll just cut it down, and then I'll do the same thing on this end. And I just feed it in with my finger. It's meant for a certain size, but you could really put just about any size in here. It's a little bit tight, but I think it's okay. So you can fit, I think it's a 1.5, 2 inches, something like that. That will fit perfectly in here, but you could just guide it in with your finger. That's one of my favorite tools. So that is a little bit tight, but I think it'll be okay. All right, so let's put our card together. So I'm using the crushed curry just as a thinner layer, and then I have it on the old olive cardstock. So let me just put this down. And it is very tight. It's only up, I think, 1/8 of an inch. And I'll have all the dimensions on my blog, pspapercrafts.com. So if you want to see what the measurements are and shop for products, feel free to hop on over there. just put this down. I'm wondering if I should do this again. I feel like it's a little too tight. Let me see, do I have another scrap? I think I'm going to do this again because I just, I feel like it's too tight there. So let me just put that on. We'll try this again. Whoops, upside down. Okay, let's see if we can do a better job this time. Get my punch. And let's see where the word is. So let's try. You're kind of blind a little bit. Okay, I like that better. So I'm going to put this up with some dimensionals to pop it up. You could pop this up, but I have the bow on it and I didn't want it to be too high. So I figured I would pop the sentiment up and have the bow on the wreath itself popped up. Not that it's popped up with dimensionals, but it has the glue dot and it's got some, you know, thickness to it. So blessed and grateful. I think these are great colors together, the crushed curry and the old olive. And let's do the inside. So I just took this sprig, and where is that? Did I put that away? Oh, it's the same sprig. I'm sorry. I was like, where is that? That is on my Stamparatus. Let me get it. Oh. So let me just mount it on a stamp. I was wondering what I used there. Of course, I have ink all over me now. Let's do this little sprig, and I'm just going to grab a piece of scrap paper. This is where I was practicing with my template. So let me get the ink, old olive. I feel like I'm a little distracted now. Apologize for that. And I just did this twice. I was going to do stamping off, but it has all that different dimension and color shading in it, so I don't think you need to do that. And then let's just add these little dots just to make it match the front. I didn't put a sentiment in. This is the kind of card that I would like to put my own sentiment in, write my own words. So that's done. Now we can put this on the inside of the card. Put a little bit of glue on it. And then we'll do the bow. And this bow is a crushed curry ribbon that's really pretty. Okay, put this away. So this is the crushed curry, and it's a crinkled seam binding. It's very soft, very pliable, very light. So I'm going to just tie a bow. Wish me luck here. It's always hard to do this when people are watching. Okay, so I like to make it big and then go down a little bit with it. And fiddle with it a little bit. I won't fiddle with it too long. Let's see how that looks. That's probably a good size. All right, let me get my ribbon scissors, and then we'll just cut it down. I like to leave it on the spool until I have it done, so then I don't cut too much, don't waste too much. I always waste a little bit. And there I am. I always have my ends. They're always different sizes. I think I have a problem with that. I don't know if there's a name for that, but I definitely have a problem with my ends. So then I'm just going to get a glue dot, and I'll just put it in a little ball on my fingers, add that to the back, and put that right in here. Okay, come on, stay down a little bit. So these are the cards. I think they're really pretty. And try the Stamparatus if you've never tried it. Try to make a wreath with it. You can do any kinds of things. You can do flowers around it. You can do butterflies, whatever you want to do. You can just play around with it and do different sizes and see what you like. Don't be afraid to use it. I know I had somebody who told me they were afraid of their Stamparatus. It's not going to hurt you. Go for it. All right, thanks for joining me. Take care. Bye.